Thanks for staying with us. Last week, Fitch Ratings upgraded Ghana's long-term local currency issuer default rating IDR to CCC from RD. Fitch also affirmed Ghana's long-term foreign currency IDR at RD and the country's ceiling at B negative. The upgrade of Ghana's long-term local currency IDR follows the completion of the domestic debt exchange program. Professor John Gatsi, Dean, School of Business, University of Cape Coast in Accra, Ghana, joins us virtually. Good afternoon, Prof. Prof, not long ago, Fitch downgraded Ghana's credit rating, and now we're seeing it backtracking, upgrading the country's local and foreign IDR to CCC. Looking at the many of the reasons it cited the domestic debt exchange, the completion of that, and the sizable debt service reduction. But moving it from RD to CCC doesn't mean that Ghana is out of the woods, is it, in terms of defaults?
Yeah, that is true. But what Fitch is doing is to just indicate that the debt repayment burden on Ghana has reduced by the extent of the success of the domestic debt exchange program. So that is the reason why they are giving it this kind of rating. But in the whole architecture of debt management, it does not change anything. When the new structured debt was to be paid some few months ago, there was some struggle in terms of raising money to pay the creditors. So which means that even the debt exchange program that has been successfully announced, the payment obligation on government is still a problem. And that is the reason why we may not see any significant upgrade in terms of the Fitch rating.
Okay, so talking about this debt and the reduction in the debt, the IMF did say that in its 2022 report says that Ghana, the debt service represented 117% of its revenue. What is, in your opinion, do you see Ghana making a recovery in terms of how much it's going to bring in terms of inflows into the country to be able to outweigh the debt the mounting debt that it is facing?
I think we will see the recovery in so many years. It is not possible to see a change over time. Even within the restructured debt, our largest consumer of our revenue is still interest on debt, followed by compensation for workers. And these two items are competing against capital expenditure and goods and services. So that structure is still the same. And if we want to look at the fiscal indicators as provided by the IMF, then it will take a long time to get there.
What about the banks? Now I think their borrowing cost to customers at 38%, or is it the interbank rates? What's the current situation with banks as regards borrowing, the cost of borrowing?
Well, what is happening is that the bank are actually producing non-performing loans. They are producing people who eventually will not pay because of the high cost. So that is why we have started seeing high non-performing loan record of the bank or the banks as reported by the Bank of Ghana. And we also going to see a number of people who have taken loan earlier on finding it difficult to pay. So if we are not careful, the non-performing loan structure of the banking system will escalate, and that will have effect on capital, and that will have effect on liquidity. And the problem is aggravated because we are in an era where the Bank of Ghana is calling on the commercial banks to provide extra capital to meet the minimum capital, the new minimum capital that they want to set. And at the same time, you have something that is eating the capital that we call the non-performing loan. So the situation is just difficult to handle, but we hope with some time given, maybe it may ease out.
How do you see this looking out for the next inflation data that is expected? What's your, how do you see this impacting inflation, or what are your inflation projections for the country?
Well, inflation has inched down somehow from 54% to 38.1%. That is not enough. That has not reflected in prices in the country. So we are only hoping that the major indicators that disturb inflation will not occur. If we have our fuel prices, energy costs remain the same or somehow stable over a period of time, then we may see inflation going down further.
Thank you so much, Professor John Gatsi, Dean, School of Business, University of Cape Coast, Accra, in Ghana. Thank you for sharing your perspective on Business Incorporated.
Thank you.